Hey everyone, I've got my coffee. My identical twin sister has her coffee. And today I kind of want to talk to you about generative AI and what I learned this past week. So I recently taught a class on how to use Canva, how to use Canva AI. The title was Your Real Estate Brand Upgraded because what I'm learning is that real estate agents need to build their brand. But in the world of artificial intelligence, we still have to integrate it. So here's what happened at the beginning of the class. I asked the question, how many of you are using artificial intelligence? Do you even know what it is, and who's not using it? Now, out of the entire room, I also asked the question, is everyone on social media? One person wasn't on social media, and one person, and the same person was not using AI or even ChatGPT. Now, when I asked that question, and I had about 30 people in class, maybe 10 in person, 20 online, there were enough people in the room where I had to go back to the basics of having the conversation around what is AI, what is generative AI, and even what is a prompt. So, Mina, are you seeing things in the world of AI where you've had to step back?
Actually, similarly, I presented at the United Principals Conference, and I asked a similar question. My question was directed to superintendents and school leaders. The question was, how many of you are integrating AI into your schools? And interestingly, a lot of hands went up. But the first question actually asked how many teachers are using it. And then the question was how many students are using it. And this was a room of up to like 200 site leaders, and students weren't using it from their perspective. That doesn't mean students weren't using it because they could have been using it. But I was shocked. And then I realized that because I assumed that the people that were going to the conference were using it because they were there. But the reason they came was because they wanted to find out how they could integrate it because there isn't any real policy on use. Were using it because they were there. But the reason they came was because they wanted to find out how they could integrate it because there isn't any real policy on using it for children except what, like, say, ChatGPT says. 13 years old and older, like what social media says, but they don't listen to that. So, I mean, and I think that we need to go slow to go fast, and we're not. There's an assumption that more people are using generative AI, ChatGPT, or just AI, and they're not. They're just not.
And that's why when I asked the question, I was like, maybe you and I need to come back and have a basic conversation around, so what is generative AI and how does it work? So, Mina, give us the definition of generative AI down to a fifth grade, a fourth grade, or maybe a third grade level.
Um, okay. Generative AI, the word generative, the beginning of that word, the root word is generate. Like make something, create something new. Whenever you generate something, you're making something brand new. It's like when you make breakfast. If you're trying something new, you're generating it. AI, artificial intelligence. And it's generating using artificial intelligence to create something new. That is the easiest definition. And I don't, because usually we have something called, the phone. This is AI. I mean, we don't usually walk away from it without bringing it with us. And if we do, we're running around trying to figure out where it is. And by the way, it's probably right up here on your face because you probably realize you were on the phone when you're looking for your phone. But the simplest version is to use generative AI to create something new and to develop something that may not have been created before ever.
So, now I'll ask another question. And I'm going to ask it and then give my definition. So, what is, no, maybe I should let you do it because I might not have a good answer. So,
You
what
might,
is
no, you should
AI?
answer, you do it in your answer and then I'll give you mine because different arenas, different perspective.
Um, I mean, so what is AI? It is no, it's the ability to have technology do it for you. That's my simple version.
That actually is probably the best version because it's intelligence, but it's artificial. There's no emotion attached to it. It's just it's artificial because it's doing the thinking either for you. It's grabbing from I like to there's a TV show that I used to watch and you may not have watched it. It's called Numbers. Or if you ever see this gift where this guy is like thinking and he's got all the numbers and the math going on in his head, it's like taking all of your thoughts, taking them and making it simpler for you to gather your thoughts. Like, have you ever had this moment where you're like, I need to do this right now, and I have to either turn it into my boss, I have to create a presentation, I need to look at this graph or this table, and I don't even know how to look at it? Well, it'll think that through for you, or you can say, help me through the process so that I can get better. And that's like big picture, but it can really help slow down what you're doing and help you think.
So, okay, so I'm like in my moment, I was thinking, let me go look up my actual definition. So, what is AI? The goal is to make machines smart enough to do complex tasks without any help from humans. But I would challenge you because Mina and I have a book, Noise to Navigation: How We Move from Confusion to Confidence with Generative AI. And this might help you have a better understanding, especially for those of you that are readers. Now, we're working on the Audible version. We got to sit down somewhere and actually read the book. But this might help some of you that are having those challenges around what is it? How do I use it? So let me ask this question, Mina. What are easy ways to start using AI? What are small ways to start?
Um, Actually, most people, I'm gonna tell you what most people do. They go in and they ask it a question like, I need a
And when you
recipe.
say it, what do you mean?
It, as in any generative AI, usually ChatGPT. I like to live in ChatGPT land. ChatGPT, those of you that probably are like, I don't even know what that is. It is a online platform created by OpenAI. All you have to do is Google Chat GPT and it will pop up. Then you select login and you can log in through Google, you can log in through Apple, you can log in and just use your email. So you do log in. And then when it's sitting in front of you, it's like a chat bot. Back in the old days, meaning in the late 1900s when we had AOL and you could chat with people or your text. It's like it looks like a text box. You just type something in, and then if you're typing it to a human, you expect them to send something back. Well, that's what the GPT model does. That's what ChatGPT model does for you. You type something in or you text it, with your thumbs or whatever, however you do it, or you swipe over because you're that good at doing the swipes in texting. Or most of us, you see people walking down the street and do this, you can do this too. Like you can press the microphone and talk right into the GPT, the chat bot, the bot, like this thing, and ask it to do something for you. You can give it a question or you can give it a statement. Question, question mark, statement, period at the end, and see
So
what happens. That's it.
okay, so and again, chatgpt.com, you can Google it. What and let me some for some of you, you need to hear it this way. When Google came out, whatever year that was, we would then eventually say Google it. So Google became the way we searched. It wasn't go search online, it was Google it. The next generation now is saying, let me chat GPT it. So they're using chat GPT more than most of the large language models. Would you agree? We should probably look and see if Pew Research has some data on AI, because that might be
Yes.
a conversation around what is the most I'm going to go Pew Research Center. Pew
Well, you do
Research,
that. While you're doing
what
that,
is the most used GPT model?
okay, hold that thought while it's thinking, because it probably is pretty fast. ChatGPT, just like Google, most people are using it at a very simple level, meaning they're using it like it's Google. They're using it like a search engine. Now it will do just that. You can use it as a search engine. It's probably faster and probably even more concise. Like it'll give you five different things of whatever it is you want to do. Simple thing is like, I want to travel in this country and give me five things I can do. I already have my flight and I'm booked to go. Like that's you keep putting that in Google, it wouldn't necessarily do that, even though now Google is attached to a chat bot, an AI bot, and it might, at the very beginning, if some of you are in Google and you're like, why is it giving me this text at the beginning? It's because it's now integrated with a chat bot. And then underneath, it gives you a bunch of hyperlinks that you can click on. So a lot of people are using ChatGPT and other platforms like Gemini and Copilot and Cloud, CLAUDE, and Perplexity. And you said, I think there's Meta AI. They're using it as a chat bot. And something simple as correct this email. And well, I shouldn't say simple because you probably should correct that email when you were upset, because some of us like to send emails out really fast because so and so emailed you and you didn't like it. It might, make this email friendlier when I respond. Yeah, that's a good thing. But we're not getting people to a different level of helping it be user friendly, like your brain. Like your brain is, we said it at the NAR conference, it is the strongest computer out there. The functioning is just stronger. So, okay, what'd you find?
So when I Googled it, I got to go back and see. I went to Google and then Google Gemini kicked in, or their search tool with AI kicked in. I'm going to go back and now this, Mina, this could be another topic, but on
Yeah, me and
per
my
Pew
dropping mine.
Research, 34% of US adults have used ChatGPT, about double the share in 2023. So here's what's kind of interesting is, and this probably took me to a whole different article. 18 to 29 year olds went from, it significantly jumped. And then if you look at 30 to 49 year olds, that one went up since 2023. And then US adults, what is that, 18? Oh, let me just skip that. Of all US adults, that went up. But if you look at, just go down to 50 to 64 or 65 and older, they're not using AI. Now, number one, they're probably outside walking or, taking a vacation, taking a break, and they're not using the tools as much as the Gen Xers or the millennials or the what is it, the Ys, the Zs, all of them,
Well,
because
but if they're working, they're probably using it.
right. So in my mind, I'm thinking this is significant for those of you that are in my space, because I come from the real estate space. Because if you are over the age of 50, you're not using it the same. So now this tells me why, when I taught my class this past week and I was talking about Canva AI. Now I understand, because most of the people in my class were over the age of 45 that were in person. And someone did say, we're not using it because they're concerned, or they might be a little more afraid of it. This says, if you, no matter what age group you are, you need to start considering using, in this case, it's ChatGPT, because you have the ability to be replaced. So I'll have to come back and look at Pew Research, and look at the generations, and maybe even see if I can figure out the large language models and which is the most used. But I can say, it says 34% of US adults have used ChatGPT, and that's doubled. But when I first searched for it, it says overall popularity, ChatGPT use among US adults roughly doubled. And then they give you the age and the demographics. Teen use for schoolwork, yeah, that's gone up.
There was a guy on TikTok that said something that we have been talking about in education. So when Google came out, and the young just start to play. They don't feel like they're going to break anything. There was in an article, people aren't using ChatGPT because they don't want to do something wrong or they don't want to break it. Well, you're not going to break it, but there's an assumption. The same with Google. Well, I don't want to use it because I think I'm going to do something wrong and the internet knows me. Well, first of all, it knows you anyway because that's a whole nother day. But the students are using it without guidance. There are some school districts around the country that are already teaching at minimum 13-year-olds to high schoolers how to use it so that they're not getting left behind and they're using it to not do the work for them. you can say cheat, for example. But if they're using it to do the work for them, they're putting in a prompt. Instead of using the word prompt, I'm going to say they're putting in their homework assignment, taking a picture of it, and saying, do this homework. Instead of saying, this is my homework. I didn't quite understand what the teacher was telling me. How can you help me learn it? So that's the piece that's missing. And we can do that even in any arena instead of saying, do this for me. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't times where you want it to do it for you because it's not your life's work and you're not turning in an assignment. But that's the part that using, when we talk about just starting somewhere is you may need to get guidance. You may need to go to, like in Carrie's course, or like, how do I use it so I'm not letting it do all the thinking for me? Because if it's doing all the thinking for you, you're not learning anything. You want to learn with it. And it will get away from you because we know that even in education, when kids were turning in an assignment and they realized all the research was online, they didn't have to go to the library. They didn't have to go into the microfiche and click the thing or go into the card catalog and go find the research paper because now there was an assumption that everything on the internet was right. And
So,
it was
Mina, before we end, what AI tools are out there that someone might decide to use without giving them all the details? Like give them a quick summary of what each one could do, maybe. But what are the tools out there that someone might consider using? And it might be based on what they're already paying for.
okay. So I'm gonna look at my screen because I have a list. You have um, ChatGPT. It's really good at conversation reasoning, and it's even better now at research. It'll do research for you, but you have to tell it what to do. Then you have Claude, which came after ChatGPT. And my understanding is it came after ChatGPT before these other ones. And it's really good at looking at long documents, like hundreds upon hundreds of pages. So if it's some document that you want to say, can you read this for me and give me the top 10 bullets? Claude is that one. Google Gemini came after ChatGPT as well, and it used to be called Bard, B-A-R-D, which sounded horrible, by the way, but they realized that that was an IT term that most IT people know, but no one in the world was like, I don't think so. So it's best for search and real-time information, and that is because it's connected to Google already. So Google did a good job with that. And then Microsoft Copilot is best for, wait for it, spreadsheets, PowerPoint, so like Excel, PowerPoint, and really integrating with your email. So even in my current school district, I have Copilot. There's an icon right in there, ready to go. So if I need to update an email or if I need to say create this email, it does it for me. Then you have Perplexity, which was also after ChatGPT, and it's really, really good at research and citations. Like if you're like, what is a citation? You remember that paper you wrote in high school, and they were like, you need to do citations, bibliography, that. And then Meta AI came after Gemini and Claude, and it's free and it's public accessible at scale. It is not as good as the other platforms. If it's something I want to play with because I don't want to get left behind, sure, go use Meta AI. But there's that. And then there's Canva that also has AI that's, this is a creative platform and it's also embedded into Canva.
So let me give you my takeaways before we end. My takeaways is that now you got me really thinking about Claude because my ideas of using it would be is I write a lot in Evernote and then I've
Yeah.
merged it and I'm thinking I could have it kind of summarize maybe my coffee with Carrie. And then I've known about Perplexity and the research, but with Copilot, that if I was a student or if I was a real estate agent that was trying to help look at my business differently, I'm going to Copilot for the Microsoft Excel spreadsheets because it's owned by Microsoft. But I do want to throw in Meta AI, although we're probably going to go to ChatGPT more. For those of you that have the Meta glasses, I have the Meta glasses. I would think about using those for having, you can have live conversations with Meta AI when you're out and about. If you need translation, it could because it has multiple languages already integrated.
Yep.
So,
I did want to mention one thing that I feel like people should know that Gemini is really good with the Google platform, like docs and sheets and presentations. Like, so just like Copilot with the other. And I think people also should know that Canva, if they're really good at, like, they like to use ChatGPT, Canva is the one that's partnered with ChatGPT and Dolly. Dolly, DALL-E, the creative picture part. That's how they get the pictures, just like ChatGPT. So Canva, ChatGPT, best friends.
So and so since you gave the fun factor, what else could you say would be the fun factor of maybe a Canva or ChatGPT? Think animation.
Well, the fun factor is it will create, you can upload a picture and it'll reanimate it for you. Or you can, when you did your presentation, you can upload your presentation and say, I need a thumbnail for I need an intro picture based on whatever it is. Or you wrote a paper or you have a blog. Okay, that's what I do for my blogs. Like, this is my blog. I wrote my blog. I upload my blog or take a screenshot of my blog and say, I need a picture that would go along with this blog. And I need it to be in what you call uh, like a rectangle. That's probably the best way to look at it, like a header. Like that's, and it will do it for you. But if you don't, it tends to do it in a square. Fun.
And so my fun factor is, although we're going to end up on other platforms, from your mobile device, open it today, go to Meta AI. If you haven't downloaded the actual Meta AI app because you don't need the glasses to use it, download it, and then when you click the options to create, you can upload your own image from your mobile device and create a video animation. So thank you for joining us for another episode of Twinfluence. I am Carrie Little. You can find me over on Instagram and TikTok as Carrie Joe Little. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel.
And I'm Dr. Mina, and you can find me on YouTube at MJBLAZY.